Hello, and welcome to this special program just for kids and their families about space. Our title here is on the board, Let's Explore Space Together. My name is Robin Bycavage, and I will be your guide as we explore the cosmos together. In this program, we're going to talk about the things that you see in the night sky when you look up. What are they? Stars, galaxies, planets. What is a definition of a star or a galaxy or a planet? And then after we finish that, we're going to write it out on the board for others to share and see. And then it's time for a yummy treat for our tummy, a galaxy smoothie. And while we're drinking our galaxy smoothie, we will read a book together called Space Dog. And after that, it's craft time. So we've got a couple of fun crafts that relate to space for you as a family. And remember always to get permission of your family or caretakers before you start to do any of these crafting projects or cooking, because it can get pretty messy. All right, let's get started with our first book. This is it right here. It's called Stars and Galaxies. It is written by James Buckley Jr. And we want to thank the publishers, Penguin Random House, for allowing us to read it today. Okay, starlight. Stars fill the night sky with twinkling light. They make the night come alive. Stars move around in space. They are far, far away from us, and we see them as tiny points of light. Billions and billions of stars move through space. Stars look tiny because they're so far away. They're really huge balls of hot gas. Far away in space, the stars glow brightly. This starlight takes many years to reach our planet Earth. So at this point, I think we can put our first definition on the board. What is a star? They just told us. If you were listening, do you remember? That's right. They're really huge balls of gas. So we can write that on the board together, can't we? Stars equal hot balls of gas. All right, very good. Let's go to our next one. We can't see the stars in the daytime because the sun is out. It's too bright for us to see when the sun is out. All the stars that we would normally see at night. The sun is a star too. It's the closest star to Earth. The sun gives Earth day and night, heat and light. Without the sun, there would be no life on Earth. The Earth is one of 8 planets that orbit around the sun. Other objects in space also orbit around the sun. The sun and everything that orbits around it is called the solar system. So I think we can stop again. We got more definitions, don't we? We live on a planet, don't we? What's it called again? Earth, that's right, yeah. So we know that Earth is a planet. Well, they've also told us something about our sun, didn't they? What did they say our sun was? A star, that's right. So the sun is a star. And it's the one that's closest to us, right? To Earth. Now, the sun is in the center, and the planets orbit around the sun. And everything that's orbiting or moving around the sun is called the solar system. So we can also put that up here, can't we? Solar system. That would be the sun. And how many planets? 8. That's right. That are in our system. And you can take a look at them here. All right, so there's a couple of things to talk about. There are some facts that go along with our stars. If we look at our stars up here, guess what? They come in different colors. That's right. So we know that stars can be red, blue, or even white. What else is the other color you think? What does our sun look like? Yellow. That's right. Yeah, yellow. So these are all the colors that the stars can have. Well, our sun is a yellow one, isn't it? So we can kind of put that over here. We can say the sun is a yellow star. But believe it or not, our sun is actually a small dwarf star. Stars can range in sizes as well, from small dwarf stars all the way up to a huge supergiant. So our sun, we said it was a star, so we can add to our definition, can't we? We can say that it is a dwarf or small star, and it's yellow. So, long ago, people connected the dots of the stars to make pictures. These are star pictures that are called constellations. You can see, if you look in the night sky, lots of different pictures. Have you had a chance to look at them recently? Remember, you have to go out at night. You have to go outside when it's dark at night to see the stars. What about this one? Can you tell? What can you see out of this pattern? Well, it takes a while to train your eyes, so don't worry if you don't see it at first. This is actually Orion. The constellation Orion. Connect the stars to meet the Orion the hunter. The 3 bright stars in the middle make Orion's belt. Orion is a hunter in ancient Greek myth. And you can see right here the 3 stars in his belt. So if you go out into night sky, you want to check it out and see if you can see Orion's belt, because that will give you an idea of where Orion is located in the sky. Now, there are many constellations in the sky. The Big Dipper is a constellation that looks like a saucepan, right? Or an actual ladle or dipper. 2 stars at the end of the Big Dipper point to the North Star. The North Star is very, very bright, so it's kind of hard to miss. And there's also the Southern Cross constellation that you might see when you go out at night. Here's the Big Dipper. Here. And you'll notice these 2 stars right here point to the North Star. Pretty cool, huh? The North Star is always in the same place in the sky. Sailors can use that North Star to help them work out which direction they're going, which is pretty handy if you're out on a boat, right? Did you know that these constellations, well, not all of them, but many of them, make pictures of animals? They call it the Sky Zoo. The constellations here on this page are shown from a special group of constellations called the Zodiac. Maybe you've heard of them before. There is Cancer the crab, Leo the lion, Taurus the bull, Scorpio the scorpion, and Capricorn the goat. So we could, if we want to continue our notes over here, put down what? Well, we can put down the North Star, we can put down the Big Dipper, but more importantly, I think we should put down what is a constellation, right? So if we say constellation, that means it's a right, it's a picture. You can draw of stars connecting, right? And we just mentioned a couple of the constellations, didn't we? We said the first one we saw was Orion. And we know also that there's the Southern Cross, I mentioned that, and the Big Dipper. Now, here's our next question we want to answer. We talked about galaxies in our opening. We said we're going to define that, right? We're going to get a definition for what is a galaxy. Well, here we go. Stars that gather in huge groups are called galaxies. A galaxy is a group of millions of stars moving together in space. So now we've got our definition for galaxy, don't we? I think we're running out of space on our board, you guys. G-A-L-L. A galaxy. It is a huge group of what? Stars. Yeah, that's right, stars. And here's a picture of one. Right here, pretty, isn't it? Okay. The sun is a star in a galaxy called the Milky Way. From the Earth, the Milky Way looks like a hazy white band going across the night sky. A long time ago, people used to think that it looked like milk. So that's how it got its name. The Milky Way. Yeah, I know, you're thinking of the candy bar, aren't you? Well, it's kind of related. It has the same name. But it's not something you find in the night sky, right? The universe is truly enormous. It is filled with billions of galaxies. The galaxies are filled with billions of stars. So that might lead you to ask, what is our place in space? Here on Earth. Earth may seem big to you and me because we're standing on it right now, but it's only a small part of space. So where are we exactly? Well, what we know is that planet Earth orbits the sun, which is our special star. The sun is one of billions of stars in a galaxy. And our galaxy is called the Milky Way, right, like the candy bar. And there are billions of galaxies in the universe. So you might have a question for yourself at this point. How do I see these stars? Well, you go out at night, right? You said that earlier. If you want to watch the stars, you wait for a clear night when there are no clouds in the sky, and you find a place away from the bright lights of towns and cities, and you can use a telescope, like I have right here. Telescopes are pretty cool for that. I'll bring it over just a little so you can see it a little better. And this is our telescope. And basically, this is our eyepiece right here. And so you want to make sure that the top is taken off over there, and you can look in here. And you want to point it to the sky, of course, right? So you can see what's going on in the night sky. So you can use something like this, which is a telescope, or you can actually use binoculars if you've got any of those at home. Maybe you have some binoculars that you used when you were out bird hunting with your family or friends. This is another opportunity to use those binoculars. Or you can look for a telescope like I did. And when you have your telescope, there are some things that you might see in the night sky. And And of course, one of the first things that you might see is an object that's closest to us here on Earth. What is that comes out every night? The moon, yeah, you're right. It's the moon. Yeah, you might see the moon because it orbits or moves around the Earth. It's a big rocky lump, and you might see it in our night sky. You might also be able to see with something like a telescope other galaxies. One of them that's closest to us is called Andromeda. We actually have, here on Earth, put out a telescope into space, and it is called the Hubble Space Telescope. And it orbits or moves around Earth, and it takes amazing pictures from space, such as these far-off star shots that I'm going to show you. What is a scientist that studies the stars called? Can you think of that one? That's a good one to know, isn't it? Botanist? Biologist? Chemist? No, not any of those names. It's an astronomer, right? And we can put that on our spaceport as well. So we can write astronomer. So now it is your turn to go out into the night sky and look up and let us know what you see. I would like you, and I invite you to, make a star map of your own. Basically, you can look for the constellations that we talked about earlier. Remember, we talked about Orion the hunter, right? He's got a big shield and a belt that you can look for with the 3 stars, and the Little Dipper and the Big Dipper, all kinds of things out there that you can look for. And you can make your own. So we'll talk about how to do that in just a minute. Make our galaxy smoothie so that we can have this yummy treat to enjoy while we're doing our crafting. And of course, reading our book as well. It's always fun to have that. So the first thing that you want to do, of course, is to make sure you have asked your parents and family and caretakers for some help, because it is a blender and it is a machine with little blades. So we have to be very careful because we don't want anybody to get hurt. But if you got your family with you or your caretaker or someone who can help you, you can make this smoothie pretty easily. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we've got all our ingredients. We've got our blender, our blueberry, we've got some yogurt, some sprinkles, and a measuring cup. Looks pretty good to me. All right, so here is my container. And the first thing I want to do is put in my yogurt. Now, of course, you can get whatever flavor yogurt you like, but I like to go with a vanilla flavor yogurt because it has a nice, fresh, yummy flavor of vanilla in it. Now, I've got some containers over here to put my smoothies in when I'm finished, and I can also get some help from these guys by getting my yogurt out into my smoothie container. All you got to do is wiggle that yogurt out. Pretty good stuff. Yummy. Now, we want to get our blueberries. Now, I went with blueberries that were frozen, but you sure don't have to. You can get whatever kind of blueberries you want if you want fresh ones. Those are good too. And we want about a cup of blueberries. So, we can get them into our cup. Whoops. Uh-oh, I lost a blueberry. Oh, well. We'll have to get it here when we clean up. 1. 2. Put our blueberries in there. Now, I would also put a little bit of water in there just to kind of make sure that it is a little bit more liquidy, so it's more like a shake to drink. All right, so we want to pour our water in there. Set this to the side. Get our lid on. And make sure it's nice and even. And there's a little trick where if you backwards it and then forwards it, that way you know that it's working. It's on the right track. All right, so now we want to put it upside down and put it in our blender. Here we go, ready? So let's see here. So you can use a spoon. I'm going to use our straw and see if we can mix it up a little bit better that way. There we go. It's nice and thick inside, which is tasty, but you may want to get a little water just because it does make it easier to get out of the blender that way. You pour it into our smoothie container, just like that. Voila! Yep, it is a little messy, so you definitely want to do this in a place that it's okay to be messy, like maybe the kitchen, or a place where you can wipe things up pretty easily. Right? All right. So we got our smoothie, and then the next thing we want to do is we do want to decorate it with golden sprinkles, right? So you have a couple options. You can either get just a nice little golden sprinkle like this and sprinkle it on the top. And if you take a look at it, you can see the golden sprinkles there. Or you can go with something a little bit more elaborate. We have these sprinkles, which are kind that you would put on cupcakes. And there is our galaxy smoothie. Pretty cool, huh? Let's see how it tastes. All right, that's really good. I hope you... Okay, so let's read our fun book that we promised you at the beginning of our special program. It's called Space Dog. Here it is right here. Minnie Gray presents Space Dog. Can sworn enemies work together to save the Spooniverse? That's a question we'll have to find out, huh? All right, and we want to thank our publishers, Alfred Knopp of New York, for allowing us to read this today, and of course, Minnie Gray, the author. It's the year 3043, and as long as anyone on the home planet can remember, space dogs, astrocats, and moustronauts have been sworn enemies. After all, that's the way it's always been. But there's no time for that now because it's time for our smoothie, right? Delicious. And you gotta watch out because those blueberries will get on you. Yeah. Okay. In the vast deeps of space, a small ship is zooming. At last, Space Dog is about to go home. It has been a long mission sorting out planetary problems in the Dairy Quadrant. It all started with a distress call from the breakfast cluster. Space Dog, we need help. Our planet is suffering from terrible dryness. All our milk lakes have dried up, and we can't carry on like this. Sure enough, the atmosphere on Cornflake 5 was much too dry and crunchy. Upper right corner there. Then there's another distress call. Space Dog, we're awash in milk. Our homes are flooding. We haven't got much time. Whereas Bottleopolis was afloat with milk. One group is saying, so dry, oh, so very dry. Thundering milk swamps, I'd better hurry. It looked like a job for Space Dog. Dun dun dun, Space Dog. If we can just find a way to equalize the moisture between our two planets that you're talking about here, hang on there to each other tightly. You straw people, I hear a gush beginning. Whoosh! Bottleopolis was siphoned to safety, and the milk lakes were full once again. Whee! At last the dryness has ended. Blessed moistness. Things carried on with the evacuation of the colossal stink from Bath Time 37. Holy hairballs, this must be the corporate. It's living in our drains and slowly growing. Better get to work on grooming the stink. Making contact with a spaghetti entity in the pasteroid belt. Making contact with a spaghetti entity in the pasteroid. Making contact with a spaghetti entity in the pasteroid or posteroid belt. Now it won't be for trouble for anyone anymore. See right here, it's a big ball of spaghetti. And then this one has his hair done. With a bow, I think, right? Yeah. And rescuing the people of Niblet 12 from an escaped pet that had gone on a rampage. Oh, wow, that's a pretty big looking pet. Looks a lot like a dinosaur. Arf, arf. And then there was time to judge the hat competition before Space Dog returned to his ship, the SS Kennel. Time to go home. At least there are plenty of supplies aboard Space Dog's cupboard. On board his ship, Space Dog has his usual dinner. And then he plays Dogopoly on his own. Look at that. He looks kind of lonely, doesn't he? He's by himself. Before he sleeps in his bunk and dreams of his home planet shining like a beautiful marble in space. Meanwhile, somewhere not so far in the dairy quadrant, Astrocat is also zooming in his saucer. Destination cream. Suddenly, Space Dog is woken by a distress call coming through on his laser display screen. Holy cream crash! SOS, my saucer has crashed and it's sinking fast. Help! Help! Space Dog must help. The cat is sinking in cream. Oh my goodness! The saucer is sinking too quickly to be rescued, but Space Dog pulls out the occupant. It's an Astro Cat! Oh my goodness! What will he do? Astrocats and Space Dogs are sworn enemies. Gulps Astrocat, but there's no time for that now, says Space Dog. Space Dogs and Astrocat got out of the thick cream and he takes him aboard his own ship. Your saucer is lost. You better hitch a ride on the SS Kennel. What in cake space am I going to do with an Astrocat aboard? What are they going to do? They're supposed to be sworn enemies. Maybe something positive will happen? Well, it kind of already did, didn't it? The cat got rescued, didn't he, from the dog? Helped him out of the cream. When Astrocat dried off, I think you'll find, Space Dog, that your bone has landed on my kennel. Well, I'll be jiggered. Not a bad move there, Astrocat. I have to give my game to you. I have to give up my game playing with you. When Astrocat had dried out, it turns out he is surprisingly good at playing Dogopoly. I think you'll find, Space Dog, that your bone has landed on my kennel. Well, I'll be jiggered. Not a bad move there, Astrocat. I'll have to up my game playing with you. And can also rustle up a tasty something from Space Dog's supplies. Great balls of pudding. I had no idea that Astrocats could cook. Well, it's time for both of them to go home. Space Dog and Astrocat are just setting the coordinates when a distress call comes in. A cry for help, Astrocat. Well, we'd better answer them then, Space Dog. Bum-ba. Yeah. There is a critical situation on Fry Up 42. Someone has left the lids off. Catch it, volcanoes! Oh my goodness, I hear blurbling. Quick, screw on those tops! Which way do you turn this thing? Clockwise, Astrocat, always clockwise. These tops are very encrusted. It's hard to turn. Mini paws make light work, huh, Space Dog? Holy condiments, Astrocat, you're not wrong. Space Dog and Astrocat, let us honor you with this label we put up in your honor. Hooray for Space Cat and Astrodog. Who bottled our volcanoes? Da da da! They saved them from volcanoes of ketchup. Very scary. Meanwhile, I think I sniffed some brie. Here you can see Maustrocat, Maustronaut, is zooming through the Dairy Quadrant and her tiny cheese module. Back on the ship, Space Dog is finally setting the controls for home. When, help! Help! A distress call on the laser display screen coming from the distinctly cheesy planet. They simply have to help. From a tunnel deep in the cheese comes terrified squeaks. Shivering Stilton's Astrocat, this planet is seriously unstable. It's collapsing under the weight of its own cheesiness. Space Dog and Astrocat must crawl in. Oh boy, they're going to get covered in cheese. Sounds delicious, doesn't it? And look, a Maustronaut tied to a skewer over a chasm of bubbling fondue. Be off with you, cheese ants, cries Space Dog. The ants scuttle away. Wow, that mouse is in trouble, isn't he? Grab my tail, Space Dog, says Astrocat, balancing precariously and untangling the rope. But Maustronauts and Astrocats are sworn enemies, gulps the Maustronaut. But there's no time for that now, Astrocat replies. My satchel, screams the Maustronaut. Astrocat grabs the satchel, and getting ready to run, they turn around and see the Queen of Cheese Ants, and she does not look happy. She seems to be interested in what's in your satchel, Maustronaut, says Space Dog. Her mandibles are dribbling, and there's a hungry look in her compound eyes. But then, Maustronaut has an idea. She offers the Queen the cheese samples from her satchel. Rare samples from the farthest reaches of space, and bows respectively. The Queen lowers her feelers. Yay! The cheese samples must have been what she wanted. She must be a cheese collector too. Do you guys like cheese? Yeah. You do? Me too. What's your favorite kind of cheese? That's a tough call for me. Cheddar's pretty good. But this planet is full of holes and crumbling fast. They dash to the ship and blast off just in time, as with a lurching groan, and the planet implodes. On board Space Dog's ship, they scrape the cheesy glue off of themselves and Maustronaut, and Astrocat runs her a nice bath. The Maustronaut not only has lost her precious cheese samples, but her module too. Cheer up, Maustronaut, says Astrocat. We need quick-thinking mouse on our team. Somebody with nimble fingers and amazing powers of sniff. Yes, says Space Dog. Someone who is brave in the face of giant insects and a third player for Doghopoly. Now we can go home. Back to the home planet, where Space Dogs, Astrocats, and Maustronauts can be enemies forever. Everyone is quiet for a moment. Maybe this is a good time for our smoothie, huh? Yeah. Shh, quietly sip it. But there's no time for that now. Okay, so here we go. Basically, we've got our Big Dipper constellation. We've laid out the 3 stars that go in the arm of the ladle, and you can connect them with glue. So then you take your glitter and you sprinkle your glitter on, right? Shake it around just a little. So you don't want to get too much glitter on everything, do you? All right. You shake the glitter off on another piece of paper, and you have your beginnings of your star chart or sky map of your constellation, the Big Dipper. And remember that you can use whatever you'd like. These are just material suggestions that you might have at home. And also, if you're out tonight looking for the Big Dipper, remember that you can find it by its specific shape that you'll see in the night sky. And if you look at these two stars, it will point you, or they will point you, I should say, to the North Star. And that'll help locate you in the night sky. Now, you may also have a smartphone in your family. And if you do, you can take your smartphone and look up several different apps that will help you locate constellations in the night sky. I have Sky Map on mine, and you can see it's already trying to search for certain constellations depending on how you move it in the sky, which is kind of fun because then it makes you doubly sure that you're looking at the right constellation. Now, we also have an activity that revolves around pumpkins. Of course, it is the fall season now, this time of year, and during the fall season, pumpkins are plentiful. So I went out to get myself a pumpkin and bring it back in so that I could show you guys how to do these Space Place pumpkin stencils from NASA. This link's on our website under the PamunkeyRegionalLibrary.org website under Kids and then NASA Space for Kids. And there's several different activities there, and this one is pretty cool. It is a stencil that you can tape onto your pumpkin and then take a black marker and color it in through the paper, and it'll bleed through and leave you with an imprint of your stencil. And you have a couple options. The one that you see here is the shape of a spiral galaxy. And when you finish, it looks like that. There are lots of other ones that you can get off of the NASA website. It's really a lot of fun. You've got this one, which is satellite. You've got Saturn, and of course the sun, as well as your spiral galaxy to choose from. And this way you don't have to carve your pumpkin. You can just use a marker or black paint. Could be a lot of fun, and that way your pumpkin will last even longer than if you carved it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the program on space. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see your star chart on our website. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed hanging out and spending some time talking about space today. Maybe you had a little fun, hopefully, with your crafts that you've been doing, maybe your pumpkin or your star chart. And hopefully you enjoyed having your blueberry galaxy smoothie that you made with your golden sprinkles. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you, and I would love to see you post your star chart on our website. So please take a picture of it and send it to me so that I can see it, okay? All right, thanks for coming, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye.